We're on our first full sea day on Holland American's Oosterdam ship, leaving from Santiago, Chile, on our way to Antarctica. Due to a port closure, we did not start our journey till this morning. We were supposed to start our journey yesterday. So if you're interested in that whole situation, I've done a whole video about it. Not only was the port completely closed and we couldn't leave until 7 a.m. this morning, but over 200 people did not make it by the time the ship should have left yesterday, some of them due to the grounding of the 737 MAX 9 planes. But this vlog is going to be about our trip so far. So we flew in, I guess it's 3 days ago now, and we flew through Atlanta. So we had a connecting flight there. Then from Atlanta, we went to Lima, Peru, and then we took LATAM Airlines and flew from Lima to Santiago, Chile. It all went really well, actually. We had no trouble. We had about 2 hours in Lima, and they have a very easy transfer. Our baggage went straight through from our starting destination down to Santiago, Chile. We didn't have to stop and get them in Peru. A lot of people ask about that for the connection. So no, you don't have to stop and get your bags. And also, there's a kind of a easy customs line that you go through if you're just making an international connection. Flying was no problem. We were very lucky we had Delta One due to some upgrades going from Atlanta to Lima, which is great. As I think I've mentioned in my preview, I've got rheumatoid arthritis, and having that is a wonderful, I can hit the ground running if my legs are not kind of just cramped for 9 straight hours on a plane. We love the hotel. We stayed at the Santiago Sheraton, which is up on a hill, a very walkable, wonderful neighborhood right there near the hotel. We had an amazing steak meal for our first lunch. So I'm going to digress a little bit. So we got in at 4:30 in the morning, and we used something called welcome pickups to just have a pickup arranged at the airport. It was easy, guy with a sign. You don't have to worry about arranging it or paying for it or anything. It's like 4:30 in the morning. We're like, let's do something really easy. So that's what we used. We got to the hotel, and the one bizarre thing was we had paid for an extra night for the hotel, just be able to get right into our room. And we get to the Santiago Sheraton, and they have no record of our reservation. So I look on my Bonvoy app for Marriott, and Sheraton's part of Marriott, and it was really kind of sad. I had no reservation all of a sudden. So I looked at my cancellations, and because we came in basically really the next morning, even though I called the front desk of the hotel to tell them when we were coming in prior to this, our reservation got canceled. But no harm, no foul. They fixed it. They still had our room available, and we got a lovely upgrade to a superior room. Look at the views here. There are beautiful views of downtown Santiago, the mountains, just absolutely gorgeous. Went right to sleep, and we woke up about noon, which is about 10 a.m. our time. There's a 2-hour time difference between New York time, Eastern Standard Time, and time in Santiago. So it's on, I think, I can't remember what time zone it is, but 2 hours difference. So there was an espresso machine in the room. We grabbed some espresso, and we immediately went out, and we found this incredible, just right down the hill. There's some beautiful neighborhoods across the river, and we had a great steak luncheon at a little outdoor cafe. Just really a good start to our trip. So we were staying at the hotel that Hal had arranged for passengers on the Oosterdam, although we were not technically part of the group with transfers, etc., because it had sold out before we had tried to book it. So we booked it on our own, but although we didn't take the transfers, we were allowed to book excursions, and they were very helpful. They didn't mind that we were not able to book with the group. And we picked up an excursion just for that afternoon, a 3.5-hour look at downtown Santiago. Took a little minivan. I think it was about 14 people. And we walked around. We got to see the Central Park. We got some history, saw the beautiful cathedral that's downtown, walked along a culinary street. It just was really nice. We also drove around and saw some different neighborhoods in the area as well. It was a good start. The first day you got there a little jet lagged. It was nice not to have to plan something on our own. For the second day, I was able to also book another excursion that I was very excited about. I don't usually book really big excursions for the minute I get to a town. If I've had to travel really far due to the rheumatoid arthritis, I just don't know how I'm going to feel. But I felt great. And so they had a 7-hour excursion up to the Andes. And we went up to 9,000 feet to a ski lodge. We had lunch. There was this gorgeous lake. There were it was an incredible road, 29 switchbacks to get up to this location. We also saw the tallest mountain in the southern and western hemispheres, Arakonga, I believe it's called. I'm terrible with pronunciations, as you probably know, which was at over 21,000 feet. And the mountains were beautiful. We stopped very briefly at a vineyard to look at how grapes are grown. We stopped at one of the rivers, very muddy rivers because of the dust and the dryness of the hills up in the Andes, at least this part of it. For photography, unbelievably stunning. Really loved it. So that was our first 2 days. We kind of had dinners in the hotel because we were tired and the food was okay. Next day it was embarkation day, and we had booked private vans. One of the passengers was super wonderful and had arranged a bunch of vans for people who were not getting the HAL transportation from the hotels, and there was some mix-up, numbers of vans and things, but it all worked out. We all got here and left about 9:45-ish, got here about like 11:15, and we had a 2 o'clock check-in time for the ship, and so we really weren't sure like what was going to happen. Were we going to have to wait? Turns out when you get to Port Antonio, they give you a number as you walk in the building, and that, unless you have priority, unless you're Club Orange or you are a high star mariner with Holland America, you end up just coming in with your group. And it wasn't overly crowded at the terminal, and so we were group 8, and it was very orderly, and so we just got on. I think we ended up on the ship about 12:30. And we, that was great. Our rooms were ready, and we actually got our luggage very shortly after that. So by about 3:30, we were completely unpacked, all set up in the room. I will have a room tour for you of the room. We are in a standard balcony, room 4123. I was a little disappointed with the room because it was an upgrade, so I can't complain. We did not spend a lot of money for this room, but it got an obstructed view. And for a photographer, this might not be bad for some people, but for a photographer with my wide-angle lenses, those white things that I guess are part of the lifeboats are completely in my view when I'm trying to take photos. It won't matter if I'm taking a telephoto of wildlife, but for anything scenic, if I'm using a wide angle, those white things are right in there, and I wanted a balcony, a lot of it, for photography. So that's okay. I'm going to have to be out on different parts of the ship. I'm going to talk to Holland America about it because I don't believe this I double-checked, and this particular cabin is a VA category, which does not indicate partially obstructed, which it clearly is. But that is what it is. So, but other than that, the room is lovely. I am kind of in one half of it on a little couch, and I'm videotaping this. My husband's resting over in like the bed area. There's a little curtain and tons of storage. Like unpacking was super easy. We put a lot of stuff. We had 2 level 8 luggage check-ins that were both at like 49.5 pounds, and we had an additional smaller mint case from them that we put our coats and our boots in. So had a ton of luggage, weren't sure how it was going to go. Everything fit beautifully, we're organized. We even have extra space. We did not even use all of the storage space in this room. So we had a very typical Lido buffet, kind of to see what it was all about yesterday. And that was nice. They have like a salad bar, so I got a salad made to order, a little bit of dessert. The desserts looked very nice. Not a lot of cakes, but I'm not a cake person, so that's okay. And from there, we just explored the ship. We had a lot of fun, kind of just seeing what the ship is like, what it's all about. It's an older ship, but it's very lovely, very elegant. Lots of little bars and nooks to sit in. There's a library with actual books in it. That's kind of fun. And so we took out some books, and some of them, the titles that were a little odd. You might want to take a look at this. But other than those few books that made you wonder why you were on this trip with the waters like that, we got some nice books to read about the area and some Antarctic expeditions. So that was kind of our first day. Early part of the day, we went to an early dinner because we were tired and just kind of wanted to eat and wanted to go to a presentation on the origins of HAL that was happening. I think it happened at 7, so we had to eat early. But we tried to make a reservation on the app, and that was a no-go. We did it a couple times. It didn't seem to show up. But there was a line. There was not a long wait. They took you to your table, and we're going to ask tonight exactly what's the scoop with the app. Is it doesn't even work for people with anytime dining, but if not, it doesn't seem to be a problem even with the ship as full as it is. Dinner was wonderful. The food on Hal seems to be very good, and I'll talk more about food. This isn't like really kind of like a food blog, so we will talk about the food a little later, but here's just a look at a couple of the things we had for our first dinner. In the middle of dinner, as I was saying to you earlier, we did not end up leaving port at 5:30 as was planned. We actually ended up leaving this morning. So the captain came on during dinner and made the announcement about the delay, that we would not leave until 4 a.m. the next morning, and that we had a bunch of delayed passengers also desperately trying to make it to the ship. That was kind of the talk of the ship last night. Of course, that's like a big change to one's plans when the port closes down and you're going to miss your first port of call, which is Port Mont. But again, I have a whole separate video on that, so I don't want to go too far into detail. We ended up going to the Oranges of Hal. So they don't really have a production show or a big welcome show the first night, but it's a very good show. Ed, the cruise director, he narrates it live, and then there are movies and digital presentations behind him on the screen. Lots of detail, very interesting, 150-year history of Holland America, and for anyone who it's your first time on Holland America, I highly, highly recommend it. Oh, another thing to know, like I do go on a lot of Carnival trips, as you guys know, and also I like the bigger ships, and it's a different vibe. You know, this is really a very travel and port and trip-oriented trip, and so there really wasn't a sail away party, so to speak. I mean, there was like some DJ music out on the back pool. There's a beautiful pool out there. So the Lido pool has a retractable roof, and then there is the Seaview pool or something like that, that is way in the back of the ship. And so there was just like people kind of out. There was a bar and there was a bit of music, not dancing, and it's not the vibe for this particular ship, and that is okay with us. And that's kind of it. We after dinner, we saw the Origin show, and we turned in kind of early. You know, just a long day. We'd had some really busy days. I did the Andes thing the day before. And my husband's a little tired. He fell when he was in Santiago. And see if my daughter's watching this because it'll upset her. But he tripped on some stairs. He's fine. He's just a little bruised up, and I think it makes him a little tired. You know, it's just not fun to bang yourself up before a trip. But he's doing fine, and but just resting has been something we've done a little more of right now between that and my RA. So we're having a great trip. Thank you for joining me. This is my first vlog of several. I'm going to try to do these every 2 to 3 days on this trip so I can take you along with me. Thanks for joining me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. We appreciate each and every one of our viewers. You'll know this way when I have new content up, and hit the notification bell so you know right away what is brand new. And if you hit the like button, we totally appreciate that. Thank you for joining me. You've been watching Cruising with Dee.